Here's another real estate tip from the Dale Ross Realty Group.
Hi, I'm Dale Ross with the Dale Ross Realty Group, and we are here today with Boyd Hanley from the Hanley Law Office. And I want to say thank you very much for agreeing to appear on our video, and it's going to be very informative to some people out there and to us as well. So with that, I would like to ask you a few questions, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so number one, what kind of service does the Hanley Law Office provide?
Yeah, we do a lot of probate, estate planning, which is wills and trust. We also do special needs planning, which has special needs trusts, and do a lot of guardianships, do some elder law, and help clients with SSI and Medicaid.
That's great. A lot of that actually applies to real estate.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
I know that you mentioned special needs planning in your practice. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I've got a daughter with special needs, so you know Caitlin,
Sure.
and that's dear to my heart. So, you know, we as parents have gone through it with my clients, and so I can relate to them very, very good. And so we do a lot of guardianships. These kids turning 18 and they're adults and may not be, ready to go out into the real world, so we do that. And then, of course, if they're getting SSI and Medicaid when they turn 18, then we do special needs trusts for the families to be sure that if the parents die in an accident, then their inheritance does not go directly to the child that's got SSI and Medicaid. So I do a lot of that.
Okay, yeah, great. I just learned something new. So you mentioned that you handle probate. Can you describe what probate actually is?
Okay. Probate is when someone dies with a will or without a will. You need someone with the legal authority to disperse of their assets and their property. And so you go to probate and get what we call letters of administration, letters of testamentary that gives the executor that's named in the will the ability, legal authority to shut down the bank account, sell the property, and things like that. The issue you have, and I get a lot of calls from title companies, that the kids are ready to sell mom and dad's property, but they don't have the legal title to it. It's still in the estate's title. So we either have to go through a probate process. There's different types of probate to get clear title so the kids can sell. I actually probably do more heirship, which means dying without a will and going through, than I do regular probate.
Yeah, that's a real estate nightmare.
Yeah, and what we do in estate planning is, between right of survivorship, this is community property estate, and so if you have a right of survivorship, then when one spouse or the other significant other dies, it's on the deed, then that house automatically goes to that surviving spouse or loved one, and we can file an affidavit of death, and that does that. And that keeps it out of house, out of probate. If you're a single person and want to give it to your children, then you can do a transfer on death deed or labor deed, which keeps the house out or property outside of probate. So we do a lot of that also.
Okay, great. You also mentioned elder law. What does that have to do with?
Most of the elder law cases that we do is either a guardianship, when the children do not have a power of attorney, a medical power of attorney on mom and dad, and they may have dementia or something of that nature. And then the other one, if you've got a loved one going into a nursing home, regular health insurance is not paid for nursing homes, so you may want to try to get Medicaid, but we have to work with your assets and your income from possibly retirement accounts. So I'll help families try to qualify for Medicaid when they have a loved one in a nursing home.
Yeah, that's pretty big in today's society.
That's right.
So guardianship. You mentioned guardianship of the special needs case. Is that the only kind of guardianship?
No, I do elder law guardianships, or you might even have someone that's been in an accident and no longer functioning, and they don't have a power of attorney, medical power of attorney. Unfortunately, in Texas, there's two things you can either have a medical power of attorney or power of attorney on your parents or your loved ones, and then if they get incapacitated, whether by accident or whether they've got special needs or whether they're elderly with dementia, then you can use those two documents. But if you don't have those two documents, the only thing you can do is get guardianship of the person and possibly the estate. And if if you have to do that, that's really a lot of effort and money involved, where if we can just get those two documents, parents may not like the kids involved in their issues. So we can still put the kids on the power of attorney or medical power of attorney, but say mom and dad has to be incapacitated then by two doctors. So you can tell your parents that you're not going to get in their business unless they're really incapacitated. And that saves a lot of headache and work down the road.
Okay, great. So if someone wants to get in touch with you, how would they get in touch with you?
They can call me on my phone number, or they can just Google Hanley Law Office, and they can find me with that.
Okay.
Yep.
And so it's the HanleyLawOffice.com, right?
Yeah, the HanleyLawOffice.com. That's
And
right.
that's Handley. Well, once again, thank you very much for appearing in the video with us. I'm sure people who are watching this learned something. I've been a real estate agent for 42 years, and I learned some things today, so I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
To learn how much a buyer would likely pay for your home in today's market, please visit myvalue123.com.